Good morning, students. Welcome back on our online study. The last time we have been discussed about the first chapter. It was the concept of the economics and the significance of the statistics in economics. We all have been discussed about so many things, which was almost clear. Now, today we will go for the collections of data. Actually, it is based on the primary and the secondary sources. What are the collections of the data? What are the sources? What are the methods? But briefly, I would like to explain one thing. The statistics mean the data or the quantitative informations, they capable of some meaningful conclusion. In this chapter, we will study about the sources of data and the methods of the collecting data. But before that, we must know why do we collect data. For a student of economics, the purpose of data collection is to understand, analyze and explain our social economic problems. For example, the problems of the unemployment or the problems of the poverty. Now we are facing the same problems in our country. While analyzing the problem, we also try to understand the causes behind the problem as also the possible solutions. The entire exercise needs a comprehensive support of numerical fact. It's called the data. For that, we focus on the chapter. As I've been explained about, why do we need the data? Why do we collect the data? The second chapter of your statistics, the most important chapter. Now let me proceed for the collections of the data, the primary and the secondary sources of the data. This one, the collections of the data has been divided into the two categories. The first one, that is called the primary, and the secondary sources of the collection of data. You will be very eager to know about the quality of life of the people in a town. We are talking about the primary sources. You may lack to ascertain the quality of life in terms of the per capita expenditure of different household in your town. You have to decide to collect the basic data yourself through the statistical survey. What the primary data implies? Primary data, the source of data, implies the collection of data from its source of origin. It offers you first-hand the quantitative information relating to your statistical study. The investigator must decide the choice between the two methods, the primary data and the secondary data, the primary sources and the secondary sources. The secondary source of collections of data implies obtaining the relevant statistical information from an agency or an institution which is already in possession of that information. Secondary source implies that the desired statistical information already exists and you are simply to collect it from the concerned agency. In the primary data, in the primary sources, we collect the data from the origin. But in the secondary data, whatever the data we are collecting, it has been collected by some other person. Now we are collecting it for just for our need. You are not going to conduct the statistical survey yourself, and you are not to contact the respond people which offering the basic information, because this information has been transferred to the another person. You are simply relying on the information which is already existing. Now let me focus on the primary data and the secondary data. Before that, we have already discussed about the primary sources and the secondary sources. The primary data. The data, the primary data and the secondary data offers you. Let us clarify the difference. Primary data, the data collected by the investigator for his own purpose. For the first time, let I remind you one more thing, that the data collected by the investigator for his own purpose for the first time from the beginning to an end are called the primary data. The data originally collected in the process of the investigation are known as the primary data. Primary data are known as the original data. Suppose you may be interested in studying the social economic state of those students who are studying in class 11, who secured the first division in their matriculation examinations. You maybe suppose, but you collect information regarding their pocket allowance, their family income, educational status, their family members, and the like. All the information would be termed as a primary informations or primary data. The secondary data are those which is already in existence. As I have stated, in the primary sources and the secondary sources is same as well as the primary data and the secondary data. These data mean the secondary data, therefore can called as a secondary hand data. Okay. Obviously, since these data have already been collected by somebody else, these are all available in the form of the published or unpublished. For example, data relating to the Indian Railway, which are annually published by the Railway Board, would be secondary data for a researcher. Let I tell you the principal differences between the primary and the secondary data. Primary data are original because these are collected by the investigator, but the secondary data is not an original, it is already existence. Difference in objective. Primary data is always related to the specific objective, but secondary data have already been collected for some other purpose. Difference in cost of collection. Primary data are costlier in terms of time, money and efforts, but the secondary data is not costly because already has been collected by some other person, some other else. Okay, and they have been they also have been invested their money, they also have been invested their time and the efforts to collect all these. For the collections of data, the investigator must choose any one of the following method. When basic data is to be collected from its primary source, how do we do it? It involves the study of a set of the statistical method or statistical techniques. The following are some of well-known methods. This one, the direct personal observations, indirect oral interview, information through agencies, mail, questionnaires, schedules sent through the enumerator. What is a direct personal observation? The direct personal observations investigations is the method by which data are personally collected by the investigator from the informants. In other words, the investigator establishes a direct relationship with the person from whom the information is to be obtained. A direct contract with the workers of an industry to obtain information about the economic conditions is an example of this method. The suitability of the direct personal relationships. These methods of the collecting primary data is suitable particularly in the field of investigations, is limited or not very large when greater accuracy is needed. A greater degree of originality of the data is required. Information is to be kept secret. Accuracy of data is of great significance, and when direct contact with the informant is required. The merits and the demerits of the direct personal observations. The first one, the originality. The data have a high degree of the originality. Accuracy. The data are fairly accurate when personally collected. Reliability, because the information is collected by the investigator himself, reliability of the data is not doubted. Related informations. When in direct contact with the informant, the investigator may obtain other related information as well. Uniformity. This is a fair degree of the uniformity in the data collected by the investigator. The merits also it is very elastic. This method is fairly elastic because the investigator can always make necessary adjustment in his set of the questions. The demerits, it is unsuitable when the area is very large. Because why? Because direct personal investigation becomes very difficult when the area of the study is very wide. It is expensive and the time consuming, because this method is very expensive in the terms of the time, money and efforts involved. It has a why it has a demerits, because it is a personal bias. If we talk about the personal bias of the data collections, this method is highly prone to personal bias of the investigator. As a result, the data may lose their credibility. Limited coverage. In this method, area of investigation is generally small. The results are therefore less representative. This may lead to wrong conclusion. Now, let me go for the indirect oral investigations. Indirect oral investigation is the method by which information is obtained not from the person regarding whom the information is needed. It is collected orally from other person who are expected to possess the necessary information. For example, by this method, the data on the economic conditions of the worker may be collected from their employers rather than the worker themselves. If we talk about the corona period, how many people who were knowing about who are the COVID positive, because you hadn't any information about them, because you are living in other area. If you are collecting the data, how many people who are suffering with that types of the COVID positive terms, it means they will not tell you directly. You will have to be contact in the areas, because areas are very wide, because very costly, but you have to be collect about the person who are the COVID positive, how many people who have died, how many people who are being positive every day. This method is suitable particularly when the field of investigation is relatively large. The investigator approaches the witness on third parties who are in touch with the informant. It is not possible to have direct contact with the concerned informant. Generally, this method is employed by different inquiry committee and commissions. The police department generally adopt this method to get clues of theft, riot, murders, etc. It means indirect. They are not in the contact directly with them. They are contact indirectly. They are asking how many people are there who are the murderers, and how many times the riots were held here, about the theft. The suitability. This method is suitable particularly when the field of investigation is relatively large. It is not possible to have direct contact with the concerned informant. The concerned informant are not capable of giving information because of their ignorance or illiteracy. Investigation is so complex in nature that only expert can give information. The indirect oral interview, it has the merits and the demerits. If we talk about the merits of the indirect oral interview, it has a wide coverage, because this method can be applied even when the field of investigation is very wide. It is also very less expensive, because this is relatively a less expensive method as compared to the direct personal investigation. Expert opinion. Using this method, an investigator can seek opinion of the expert, and they can make information more reliable. It is free from bias. This method is relatively free from the personal bias of the investigator. It also gives the adequate information can be had. But why it has a demerits? However, there are some demerits the information cannot be relied because of the absence of the data content, because it is very less accurate. The data collected by this method are relatively less accurate because this is because the information is obtained from person other than the concerned informant. Bias. This is possibility of personal bias of the witness giving information. It is also having a doubtful conclusion. This method may lead to the doubtful conclusion due to the carelessness of the witness. In order to get the real position, a sufficient number of the people are to be interviewed, because we do not have the similar directions. If we talk about the direct personal relations investigation and the indirect, in the case of the direct personal investigation, the investigator establishes direct contact with the informant other than the other one. In the case of indirect investigation, information obtained by contacting other than those about whom information is sought. Direct investigation is relatively costlier than the indirect investigation. After that, we will go for the information from the local sources of the correspondent, information through the agencies, information about the merits and demerits, the mail questionnaires. Today we all have been discussed about this chapter. So many things have been cleared about the primary sources and the secondary sources, the primary data and the secondary data. Why do we need these type of data? Why do we need to collect this type of data? Tomorrow we'll go for the another point. It's about the information from the local sources of correspondent. How do we collect that? Why do we need it? We also will talk about the suitability, merits and the demerits, information through the questionnaires and the schedules. That's all for the day. Thank you. Have a nice day.